Usually you ever notice with the NFL, like historically, the best teams have always played outdoors. All
Yeah,
of them, from the Patriots to the Steelers. I mean, the
yeah.
Cowboys had a good run when they won their Super Bowls in the early '90s, but
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the Steelers, the Patriots,
They are the Chiefs now to an extent.
yeah,
Um, you know,
Philadelphia Eagles,
yeah,
the
because like
Buffalo
you
Bills.
said,
Because it's this, I think it's a lot of toughness. There's a lot to be said for teams that play outdoors, and for teams that play outdoors in up north,
hmm
Midwest. Those teams are like built different.
yeah, yeah. I think it's man, like I said, the way this season is gonna shake out, I think that real quick, man, we're gonna learn a lot about this team, man. You know what I'm saying? Forget last year. You know what I'm saying? Only thing we basing last year off is the schedule. Like the teams that, like, okay, for instance, like we played Baltimore. We know Baltimore's had our number, man. No matter if we play them here, whether it's a Justin Tucker 75-yard field goal or a Justin Tucker doink into the uprights to win, you know what I'm saying? Or we go there and get the break speed off us. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed like something was going to shake with Baltimore. I think that they're still a top team in the AFC, just like we're still a top team. I don't believe that the Lions are that much worse than they were last year. That's something I'm not going to buy into it. I see a lot of people saying that. Right off the bat, ESPN is not even picking a line. I seen Dan Orlovsky, and he rides with Detroit, and he was pretty much like it's Green Bay. You know what I'm saying?
But what though? That's all talking heads opinions.
Yeah, of
You know
course,
what?
of
You know what
course.
Vegas got us
Yeah,
fifth.
they plus 135. Yeah, they got the Lions
Vegas
winning
got us
division.
fifth. So
And,
yeah,
and trust me, it means nothing to Brian Branch and Jameer Gibbs. They could care less what people say. I'm not saying that because we've always played better. I think this is where I think Dan Campbell's gonna have his best coaching job if he is the guy that really is gonna get us to the Super Bowl and get us to actual putting some hardware up, banners up. You know what I'm saying? This is Dan Campbell's time. It really is because man, this is his team. You got two new coordinators, and everybody. It shows by the schedule that everybody is buying in to what the Lions are doing. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we need to be led, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it's gonna be dire straits to begin the season, man. I mean, I'm looking at Green Bay. You're gonna have a motivated pack. We've owned the Packers, you know what I'm saying, the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? We always play them tough anyway. It's notoriously always a tough game. Either way, couple points either way. Listen, I like the Packers. I liked them last year. Still like them. I like our whole division as a whole. I think the question mark is going to be JJ McCarthy at quarterback for the Vikings. If I had to handicap it, I would say maybe the Vikings take a step back. You know what I'm saying? They got the roster, but I don't know. He's the X factor. You know what I mean? Again, and here we go again, Walt. And I think this the Jared Goff talk is gonna start. I wanted to see how the schedule shook out. Jared Goff's gonna have to outplay some of these guys, man. He's gonna have to go toe to toe with Lamar Jackson. He's gonna have to go toe to toe with Mahomes. He's gonna have to do it against Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurt. I mean, man, it's some quality quarterback play that's going to have to Caleb Williams, for everybody who thinks he's a nutcase and just Caleb Williams can ball, man. And it's crazy. Yeah, Bobby Dre. It's insane. It's crazy. It's like I'm not shying away from it because I think that it's best for us to know what we have. You know what I'm saying? And to know we gonna know by the bye week how serious this team by what's bye week 8, I think, this year. Um, I think we're gonna
yep.
know real quick if this team is gonna be a contender or not. I do think we got some cupcake game. I think it's Pittsburgh, the Giants, and it's 3 games at the end of the season. I think that we should take care of business. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be good for us. But I'll let you take it away, a little bit. But man, when I seen the schedule, I was like, wow, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But hey, 15-2, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know that last year we had our feet up on the coffee table. It was like we went to everybody's house, went in their refrigerator, poured us a drink, put our feet on their table and kind of,
It
turn
was
their
the revenge
TV
tour.
on. Yeah. So now I think it's gonna be some pushback this year, man. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Lions, if any team can do it, before I let you take it away, if I think any team can do it, I think it could be this team. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna come down to quarterback play. I do like when all else fails, this team can run the ball. And I think that's where it's going to be, where they have to, play keep away, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Long drives, 10, 13, 12, 10, 12, 11 plays. It's going to have to be that way, man, until, we figure it out on I'm scared to death on defense, man. I'm going to just tell you that right now. This is what's got me worried, because I just know that we haven't addressed the elephant in the room, man. And you could tell, you could say all you want. We got the future set, and the salary cap is set, and we not in the dude. When we line up on September 7th, ain't nobody gonna care about the salary cap if you don't have the players to compete
True.
and make some plays out there defensively. It's going to be a rude awakening. That's all I'm saying. Do I think we equipped to play with all these teams? Hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm not so scared of like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson hasn't won a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't. I mean, he's great in the regular season. He's great MVP talk every single year. We see it. We witness it. Baltimore, notoriously a good team, good Monday Night Football team, but they're not like this great juggernaut of a team that you got to be scared of to play
Well,
in week 3 on Monday
no,
night. You know what
I
I'm saying?
no, you're right. You're right. And I think also you only get so many bites at the apple. We
Yeah,
keep believing and assuming that Josh Allen in Buffalo will be right back there, and
yeah,
Lamar Jackson in Baltimore will be right back there, and
yeah,
Mahomes will never fall off, and the Chiefs are just going to keep on making Super Bowls. That doesn't always happen.
yeah.
Usually there's some dead year in between all of that. The Chiefs kind of do for one. You want to be
Hmm.
honest about it.
Yeah,
They kind of do for one of those dead years. Not to say it is going to happen to them, but
yeah.
when I
I
look at
get.
this Detroit team, I think they're better in certain aspects. I like the fact that Hank Fraley is also coordinating the run game this year.
Yeah,
They made sure they got him two more young pieces on the offensive line. I don't think the rushing attack is going to miss a beat at all. I think we have enough weapons now on the perimeter, as long as we stay healthy, to score some points for Jared Goff.
yeah,
Now it all comes down to how well does Goff play in these hot button games, you
yeah.
know. So it's a tough schedule, but I mean, if
Hmm.
you're a good team, even if you're not a assumed or a presumed good team, you
Yeah,
still have the ability to win these games on any given Sunday when you have a damn good head coach. You
yeah.
got a good quarterback. You got playmakers. Now, I agree with you on defense. I think the deal with them defensively, they just gonna have to hold on for dear life.
Hmm.
I think like the first half of the season, they got to make plays. That's the thing about it. In the NFL, it's not necessarily about being number one against the run, number one against the pass, number one in points given up, and all this other stuff. Do you make the game changing plays? We've seen teams be top five in all these fancy categories
Yeah,
and still consistently lose because they don't make the plays that they need to make.
yeah,
They're not worried about what you need to be worried about, which is third down percentage, red zone percentage, fourth down percentage. These
yeah,
are the things you really need to be worrying about. What are your point differentials? Are
yeah,
you getting those key turnovers? Are you getting the sacks? Which goes back to what you was talking about as far as them still not really addressing the overall pass rush on the team. But you got to give. We heard what David Shaw had to say yesterday, matter of fact, in
yeah,
his presser in regards to pretty much Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell hammering in everyone's head in the locker room and the organization now that last year is dead.
yeah.
And I get it, they're right.
Yeah,
Tom Brady talks about that consistently. Like you're
that's
only as
true.
good as what you were yesterday.
That's right. That's
You
true.
know, last year is dead. You have to completely reinvent yourself every year. And this team had no choice but to reinvent themselves. They lost both of their coordinators. They lost countless other people. They lost a few players. So, I mean, now they're in a situation where you have to hope that at least two or three players from the 2024 draft class take major steps this year.
Hmm.
And we really need Terrion Arnold or
Yeah.
Ennis Rakestraw to be one of them. At
Yep.
least one of them. We
They
need one
have
of
to.
these young corners to step up
Yep, they have to.
for
It's
damn
huge,
sure.
man. It's huge. That's like you said, Walt, as the key, and have Jameson Williams, take the next step. I listen. I'm good with what we have. I'm good with that. I just don't want it to be come across like I'm not. It's just,
I'm not
uh,
comfortable with it.
yeah, I'm just not right. I'm just not comfortable, man. I'm just looking at schedule now. When you tell me, well, let's just real quick. Let's just play schedule. Yeah, there we go, my man. Let's just play the schedule game real quick. Just what off we just going off of what the teams have added, free agency, the draft. Obviously, we can go a little bit off next last year. Okay, Green
One
Bay.
second. One
Okay,
second. Before you get fully into that,
yeah,
let's look at this season as in quarters.
yeah,
So, of course, the first 4 weeks of the season are the first quarter.
yeah,
Next 4 weeks of this is the second quarter, and so on. So we got our bye in the second quarter of the season
yeah,
in week 8,
yeah.
and then
Which I
you
like
move
that.
on
I
from there.
like that.
So in the first quarter of the season, we at Green Bay, host Chicago, at Baltimore, host Cleveland. We can't blow that Browns game.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the first thing we got to get into
Yeah,
play
we got
right
to
there in the
power. We
first
got to
quarter of the
power
season.
slam them. That yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you go to Cleveland and you handle Cleveland. Now, as we talk about consistently, especially when it comes down to gambling, that gambling aspect of all this,
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea what the weather's going to look like that day, what the wind's going to be. Is it raining? Is it hailing? What the field looks like. A lot of other stuff factors into that. Who's hurt? Who's in? Who's out?
Yeah.
But in theory, we should beat Cleveland, and we should be able to beat Cleveland handily.
Well, that's here
Now,
though. Anyway, that's here.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we should take
but
care of them
but at
boys.
Baltimore,
Mm-hmm.
at Green Bay, and Chicago, those first 3 games right there is going to really, really test this team. And that Baltimore game Monday night, you can't get assaulted
Right. Just what
at
E just
Baltimore.
said. Yep. Just what E said, man. I mean, if okay, let's handicap just this first 4 games of the season, just based off what we know from last year draft, free agency. I mean, what's our record? Those 4 games. Let's just have some fun. It's May. You know what I'm saying? We could just have some fun right now. And
I
what
say
you
they get out of that 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same thing. This is why I say that. I think that the Packers are pissed, man. And much as I hate to say we've had our way with Green Bay, and they're due to beat the Lions. They really are, man. And not that I'm afraid of them or anything like that. I got that penciled in as a loss. I just think that Green Bay's gonna be ready to play the line, and I think we're gonna be looking ahead to the Chicago game. I think it was brilliant to put Chicago, our first home game, even though it's a 1 o'clock game, but I like that start. And I think we looking past because we're gonna be so amped up to slam the Bears. I think that they might lose to the Packers. And then I think that I don't want them to lose to the Ravens. I really don't, because I really do think we owe them a loss big time. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way they've beaten us the last 3 or 4 times, been ridiculous how they've beaten us. So I'm a pencil as a loss, and then like you said, Cleveland. I think that's a W at home. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be 2-2 to start. You know what I mean?
I can't really pick the games too much right now,
Uh-huh.
but just going off the instincts.
Off lastly, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
just
I
off
mean,
the instincts.
obviously,
It just to me
it's
looking
going
at
to
that
change.
first looking at the first quarter right there of the season, to me that looks like 2-2. That
Yeah,
doesn't make us bad either. Like people who think you got to pick the team to win every single game, that's crazy.
yeah, that's crazy.
You know,
We're not going 15-2 again. It's not going to happen. Forget about it. I've heard people say that already. 14-3. You out of your mind? There's no way they're gonna win 14 games. No way. You know what I'm saying? And I think they're gonna be good. I don't 14 games is not that's just unrealistic, man. You know what I'm saying? So okay, I'm sorry, I mean cut you off.
No,
The
you good.
next we got the next four.
Yeah, next
Let's
four we got at Cincinnati, at Kansas City, Tampa Bay here on Monday night, and then we got our bye.
yeah.
We ain't got to
Oh,
necessarily pay the because we got Minnesota after the bye. We'll get to Minnesota in the next quarter, in the third quarter. But yeah,
mhm.
so in the second quarter of the season, we talking about at Cincinnati, back-to-back games, pretty much television games too, primetime type games at Cincinnati,
Yeah,
at Kansas City. Then we come back home for a Monday night matchup against Tampa.
yeah,
Tampa won us too,
yeah.
even
They
though they
got our
beat us
number.
last year.
Yeah, they got our number. They,
Well, I don't think
uh,
they got our number because we've had some success against them. They just
yeah,
play us really well. I think that just comes along with playing,
yeah.
a conference opponent consistently. Same thing with the Rams. People forget we
Hmm.
got the Rams.
Yeah, they pay in the ass. Pay in that. I must say, I think that Cincinnati Bengals game gonna be like 60-57. You know what I'm saying? I think neither team gonna be able to stop each other. And this is gonna be a Jared Goff game to me against Joe Burrow. I would love to see these two offenses going, like I said, run up and down the field. It's gonna be incredible game. It's gonna be in the 4 o'clock slot. I'm gonna pick the Lions only because the Lions are a better team to me. Just I think they're better than the Bengals. I think our roster better. I think our defense is still, even though our defense is still lacking in some areas, I think we still better than them. Both sides of the ball. I just think their offense is incredible in the Bengals, but and so is ours, though. You know what I'm saying? So I think by that
I
time,
think they get
Tesla,
it different though.
yeah,
Like,
yep,
what
yep,
if they put the pressure on us?
yeah.
What if Burrow and them put that high flying pressure on us? And now you're putting golf in a situation where maybe we got to abandon the run a little bit, and he gets forced to actually have to go gun for gun with Burrow.
He might, and what get Goff can do that. You know what I'm saying? He can do that. I think if you got a game where you're not harassing him, like Washington harassed the hell out of Jared Goff, right? So we seen what the end result was. But I think that if you got a game where Cincinnati they not nothing on defense, bro. I think if you just telling Goff go out there and score 50, he can do it. You know what I'm saying? He not getting no pressure on him. They don't have no hell of a linebackers. They don't have a hell. Trey Hendrickson don't even want to play for them no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm not scared of the Bengals at all. It's just their offense is going to
It's
carry
still
them.
at Cincinnati too, and then it's
Yeah,
a
it's in
a
October.
whole nother conference opponent.
Yeah, I say we win that
Yeah.
game just right now. It's just fun to have fun and talk about the games, but I think they win that game. We win that one. Kansas City, I think we can go in there and beat the Chiefs. I'm not scared of them at all. You know what I'm saying? We beat them, and they was the better team the last 2 times we played them, and we won the one game, the opening day. So I'm gonna give us a win at Kansas City. I think we start off 0-2 in a row by losing the first two, but then we come back and win these next two, and then I think we beat Tampa. So I got us 5-2 coming out of this into the bye.
Mm.
This where it get interesting. This not the end of the season though. I'm almost get
Yeah, I
too happy.
mean, but that's the thing too. So you pretty much agree that you think in the first quarter of the season, the first 4 games, they're probably gonna go 2-2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so that means that in the second quarter of the season, weeks 5 through 8, well, you got the bye week in week 8. You go into that second quarter of the season at 2-2 with a trip to Cincinnati over to the AFC to play Cincinnati,
Yeah.
a trip to a Sunday night game at Arrowhead, and then a Monday night game against Tampa. And you know that's gonna be tough. Tampa gonna play us tough.
Yeah. They play hard as
That's
hell. Yeah.
you can easily and I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but them 3 games right there ain't no BS games.
You
Like
could be. You
you
could
you
lose
can
them.
easily
You're
lose
right.
2 of those games
Yeah. You could come out of
if you're
this
not careful.
3-4. They could be 3-4 after 7 games. I agree. I totally agree with you. You know. I'm just
So,
having some fun. I
oh
agree.
no, I
Lord,
get it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to be as positive as I can because you
I
know
like
me.
let's talk about the bye then. Let's get positive about that because when did
Yeah.
we get our bye last year? Was it
what was it?
week two?
Week 5, week 4. It was crazy. It was October. It wasn't even Halloween yet, bro. We had our first bye. It
Yeah.
was still warm outside. It was crazy.
All right, so let's look at this then. So we get our bye week 8 this year.
Yeah,
And by week 8, we will have been able to get rid of, even though we still got to play Green Bay and Chicago,
yeah,
both once again after that. We've gotten rid of we got rid of 2 divisional opponents early on, 2 of those games right there.
yeah,
We got Baltimore out the way while we still healthy. We got Cincinnati and Kansas City out the way while we still healthy, and then a physical ass game against Tampa. I can only imagine that one.
hmm
We got that out the way before the bye week. All right, so we coming out the bye week. We got tough
Oh,
ass matchup,
oof.
Miss Minnesota.
Yeah.
Now, what you said is true. Minnesota has improved a lot over
hmm
this offseason.
Yep.
Offensive line, defensive line. They're a team that also recognized what their issues were in the trenches. They got exposed by the Rams twice. They got exposed by us twice. So they went out, took care of some areas they needed to take care of. They've got everything, I think, almost to get to the Super Bowl, being honest,
Yeah.
except for that large question mark under center.
Yeah.
You know, that's
hmm
what kind of holds me back on Minnesota. Um, Coming out the bye after a tough ass first and second quarter of the season, we healthy, we good. I think we might smash Minnesota. Like coming out of that bye right there, we know how huge that game is for us.
Yep.
We know how huge it is for them. And then you're talking about Washington. So in the third quarter, we looking at Minnesota, Washington, Philly, and the New York Giants. And who, listen, trap game.
hmm
I'm gonna
Yep.
say that right now.
Yeah. Their
If
defensive
you
line
can't
is hell of
handle
a.
right that game right there, November 23rd against the New York Giants, that is why you go and you invest those draft picks in offensive line.
hmm
Because that New York Giants, that team probably has the best front seven in football, and I don't feel an issue with saying that.
Nah,
You
I
talking
agree
about
with
getting
you.
after the quarterback, and you look at the fact that you got Dexter Lawrence, who's probably, if Dexter isn't the best defensive tackle in football, he's 1A
Yeah.
or he's 2A or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then you surrounding him with that much pass rush help with
Yeah.
Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns.
Burns. Yep.
That's ridiculous. And
They
then
and
they
they
went out and
drafted
drafted Darius Alexander.
Alexander. That's how. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Oh
So yeah,
gosh.
if you ain't careful, you want to go through the schedule and look at who has the potential to harass Jared Goff. It's the
hmm
Giants. The
Yeah.
Giants for damn sure have a shot. That's something right there where do they give so much effort against Philly
yeah.
Sunday night that they turn right back around the next Sunday night? I mean, the next Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock start against the
Yeah.
Giants and lay an egg? Because that
Possible.
Eagles game is going to be massive.
Yeah. I think that's yeah. I like I said, I see 2 losses here for sure. I mean, I say for sure. It's silly to say that. I'm not gonna say for sure right now in May, but I'm just saying. Okay, I agree with you, Minnesota. I think that's a win. We split. Somebody that already said um, split with the division. Remember, while we've been owning the division. I mean, we've been undefeated. It's just gonna be hard to do it 2 years in a row. It's gonna be hard to win all 6 in our division. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, if it's a team that could do it, it's us. But I think Minnesota, we win that game. I think Washington's up and coming. I think we will probably see Washington and Philly both again in the playoffs. So I'm gonna say Minnesota win. I'm gonna say loss at Washington, loss at Philly. Like you said, the Giants is a really big game. I mean, the Packers on Thanksgiving, and then like you said, it could be a trap game against the Giants. So, man, this is tough. I'm gonna say 2 and 3 in this block right here. So that's what 7 and 5 at this point. Yeah, I got us at 7 and 5 in this point. But I totally agree with you with the Giants, man. I think, like you said, and you said it best. I won't take your words, but if anybody can get to the quarterback, it's those guys, man. And I think those are the games that Jared Goff has problems. You know what I'm saying? And just same
Yeah,
thing with Washington, same thing with Philly. If you want to just sit back and throw the ball and then Jared Goff can ball in, you know what I'm saying? Because you not it's no, you're not knocking him off his square. You know what I'm saying? Teams know he's sort of like the rhythm. Sometimes Mahomes is sort of like that, a rhythm quarterback. You know what I mean? He's turned into that where Philly harassed the hell out of him, and it was sort of like, they never recovered from that first quarter when Mahomes got sacked a couple times. They got a couple 3-and-outs, and I think Goff's kind of the same way, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Walt, after these games, I say 7-5 right now.
yeah. Spirit of Detroit had a comment about them not being healthy, but if it's week 8,
Mm-hmm.
so you talking week 8, you talking what, Halloween?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that'll be the first couple months of the season he missed. He could be back by Halloween. I don't know, but he's leaning closer to being ready than he's not ready. We would think unless he has some
as
sort
a
of setback,
setback.
right?
Yeah,
Unless he has some sort of setback around that time, he should be ready to go. If not by Halloween, after Halloween, um, we have no idea, of course, when Aiden is going to be ready to go. But and also, what I mean by relatively healthy is perceiving that the overall team, not just the two big name guys that's out right now, but I'm perceiving that hopefully overall as a team by week 8 coming out of that bye, we're all healthy and
yeah,
heading into week 9 against the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe we have Aiden Hutchinson back by
yeah,
then. Maybe we do have Aleem McNeil back by then. So that's kind of what I meant by that. Um, so you're in agreement. You think that New York Giants game, just if you look at where it's sitting at right now,
yeah.
you talking about coming out of that bye, big time emotional game against Minnesota. We ain't even talk about how it's gonna feel going up to Washington.
Right,
You
right.
know, having to redeem that situation right there. Then you talking about at Philadelphia. Shit, the Eagles. That's the fan base Super Bowl here.
Yeah, right.
And it's easy to have a letdown and then you turn right back around and you play a team that might lead the NFL in sacks this year, the New
Mm-hmm.
York Giants. So it's possible they could have a letdown, but just being realistic, and I think that's what you and I are trying to do.
Yeah.
This ain't no pushover schedule right here.
No,
Vikings,
no.
15 win, 14 win team last year.
Yeah.
Commanders made it to the NFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Like this ain't
Yeah.
something that you can just really sneeze at.
Yeah. Yep. The Packers gonna be a pain, thorn in our butt. Okay. This is where
Fourth
uh,
quarter.
yeah, this is where like I said, I got them winning that Packers game. That's on Thanksgiving, November 27th.
Yep.
So 7-5 at this point, damn sure beating the Cowboys. I'm not worried about them at all, to be honest with you. I think it could be a high scoring game just based off of, they know they probably gonna have to outscore us to beat us, that type of thing. I'd be surprised if it's, under, both teams under 20 points to win it. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like that's gonna be a high scoring game. I think the Lions better on both sides of the ball. I say we beat the Cowboys at home. Again. Well, remember last year in this spot. Remember we had Thanksgiving against Chicago, I think. Yeah,
What
and
was
then
it?
we
3 games in 11 days or something?
turned around and played the next Thursday at Green Bay and
Ooh.
won that game, if I'm not mistaken. So,
But hold on 1 second. Now you can keep talking. I want to go back a little bit though
uh
to look at our 3 games in 11 days this year.
yeah, yeah,
So we got Philly on the 16th,
yeah,
Giants on the 23rd, Packers on the 27th.
yeah. That's pretty good.
So
Yeah, that's gonna be tough, man. Two of the games that, well, actually, this is our spot of the schedule where then you got 3 straight home games. So, like you said, man, when you was talking about Cleveland at the beginning, it's like you got to win the home game, especially
yeah.
teams you can beat. You know what I'm saying? Like people would say, well, why did I have them losing to the Giants? I only had them because like you said, it's like I think it's a letdown, and I think the Giants got the defensive pressure to maybe give us some problems and sneak out a win. That's all. You know what I'm saying
Yeah,
in
I
that
mean,
spot.
they got some guys on offense that can make some plays too, and then we don't know
Hmm.
what Russell Wilson's gonna look like, or Jameis
Yeah,
Winston, or Jackson Dart, or whoever the quarterback may be. And
yeah,
when you're a team that they might be a one-trick pony, but if that one-trick pony, like I said, turns out to be being able to get after the quarterback,
yeah,
that could be a problem for a team, any team for that matter. If you brought it up, look what happened to Mahomes in the Super Bowl
yeah,
twice. It happened against Tampa Bay, and then it happened against Philadelphia last year.
yeah. And just what Ralphie just said, I was gonna say that, Ralph. I think that Dallas got embarrassed last year. You know what I'm saying
Yeah.
by the Lions. I think then we put up 47 on them boys last year.
But look
And
how they
and I
approach Ben this offseason. They've been
yeah,
spending money, they've been drafting well. Like Dallas ain't I don't think Dallas playing around this year.
yeah. So I think that that's part of it. I think the Rams could be a loss. I mean, we've owned the Rams the last two times, not owned them because we barely beat them both times, but I like the Rams in that spot. You telling me we playing the Rams, we got to go out there cross country. We do get 10 days off in between that, like you said, the 3 games in 11 days. Then you get 10 days off, got to fly cross country to play the Rams. I think the Rams win that game. I really do. I think they could they could take care of business and beat us. You know what I'm saying?
The Rams
Against
so
this,
wishy-washy. And I like the Rams. I
yeah, I like
do.
the
I
Rams
think
too.
they're one of the three best between us. Well, at least I believe this year, if you look at what they have.
Uh-huh.
But since they won that Super Bowl, what have they been? They've been like a very hot and cold team. Like you'll see them against Philadelphia, just throwing a team out there, Philadelphia, Kansas
Yeah,
City, or somebody, and they'll look
yeah,
like one of the best in the league. And then you'll see
yeah,
them against Arizona, and they'll find themselves in a 16-13 game, or they'll find themselves trailing to Jacksonville, it's like it's always something weird with them.
yeah,
Maybe it has something to do with Stafford being beat up as much as he's been beat up recently. And he is
yeah,
getting older. That arm ain't getting no younger or older,
yeah,
but he can still sling the football around. But the Rams can get after the quarterback.
yeah.
That's the one thing they can do.
That's right. Yeah. And then it's like, they have they have tightened up that offensive line. They got a decent run game, you know what I'm saying? Good receiver play. You still got Matthew Stafford, a guy who, has won a Super Bowl, he's a veteran, so I don't think you can go wrong, man. And in today's NFL, I think the best you can do is put to help your team is to put a rookie quarterback. I mean, a rookie, a veteran quarterback to help your chances. You know what I'm saying? So I think because I mean, if they didn't have Stafford, I don't think the people would say the Rams are really contenders like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they D line good, but they young. They not like the Giants good yet to me. You know what I'm saying? But I think Stafford automatically puts them in like, okay, you know what I'm saying? They got some young guys, they can score. Um, yeah, so I like I said, I got that one. I penciled as a loss for the Lions for me. So I'm gonna say what I got is at 8-6 right now.
What
Pittsburgh,
about Pittsburgh?
yeah,
I
should
think
be a
that's
victory.
something else too.
Really, you do? I don't,
Listen,
man. I'm not Pittsburgh at
December and
all.
December 21st up there in Pittsburgh.
No, it's here.
We didn't seen teams go there and look real bad against Pittsburgh, man. You might
It's
still beat them, but it's gonna be an ugly game.
no,
Now,
it's
are we
here
better
though.
than Pittsburgh? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. That game here though. I mean, I think
Oh,
that,
damn,
like
you're
you
right.
said,
I'm still looking at the at. I was looking at the Rams, but
no,
yeah,
that's okay. But what I'm
yeah,
saying, no,
here though, yeah,
what you saying is
throttle 'em.
valid. What you saying is valid, bro. Because if you played at Pittsburgh December 21st, yeah, of course, something weird to happen in the cold, a fumble. You could just see something,
Freezing rain.
yeah, something like that happening. But I think at home, that I don't really picture the Steelers being a threat this year. That
No,
just me,
they don't even know who their quarterback is yet, and they
right.
already in the rookie camp.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Then you got Christmas Day. This is very interesting.
mhm.
Christmas Day against the Vikings. I think, man, the schedule makers was good to us on this one. I think it's going to be really fun. to have a Lions play on Christmas Day, man. Especially at
On
Minnesota.
Netflix? That ain't
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. It'd be fun. Well, the NBA got ABC, ESPN. You can't Bogart on that, I guess. But I think that game right there could potentially be a loss. I mean, it really could because I put more stock in the division than other people. People just think you're going to go out there, you're going to beat Minnesota twice, you're going to beat Chicago twice, and you're going to beat Green Bay twice. That's not realistic, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why it hurt so bad last year that we didn't take advantage of like how we just dominated. You know what I'm saying? And now we reset everybody back to 0-0, and what we did last year, yeah, we got a banner. You know what I'm saying? We hang a banner, I guess, for division championship. But right now, them teams mad as hell. We humiliated Green Bay twice, 3 times. Like the last 3 times we played, the Packers gonna be motivated as hell. Minnesota felt like we took that game, which we did, you know what I'm saying, with no defense and basically beat them
You
and shut Sam Darnold at that perfect marriage they had. They wound up not signing Sam Darnold. They pissed, man. Minnesota gonna be highly motivated. The Bears, you kidding me? Ben Johnson, that game is circled on their calendar. The last game and the second game of the season. Both them teams gonna
That's
be
to
amped
me,
up.
you wanna keep it 100?
Yeah,
That's the team right there I'm concerned
yeah,
about the most.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you look at Green Bay, that's another inconsistent, wishy-washy team that plays like their quarterback. All of these teams you ever notice, they overall personality-wise of the team, they take on the personality of the quarterback.
yeah,
When Jordan Love is hot, he looks like he's one of the elite young talents in the league. When he's bad, he's bad. And when that defense is really good, it's really good. And when it's not, it's not. That's why
yeah,
they can't seem to really get over the hump either. They need him to be better. Once he's better, I think Green Bay overall will be better, and then they can start to really reach that ceiling that they have.
yeah.
Minnesota, are you really worried about JJ?
No, not like
He
that.
got he got to prove it to you. He got to go out there and prove it. Like Jaden Daniels had to go out there and prove it. And the other guys had to go out there and prove it. Caleb, Caleb can ball. Like
Yep.
Caleb got talent. Caleb got running backs now. Caleb got multiple tight ends now. Like Caleb got receivers. He got defensive guy. Like he's got an offensive guy as his head coach that's gonna run the football.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, that's the team I think in our division we really need to be concerned about this year.
Yeah. And I agree with Super Random. He's right. Super Random, he is right. I mean, this thing can go it can go ugly. Like you said, I mean, remember we talked about the first 7 games. And I maybe kind of trigger happy for this saying 5-2, the first 7. You know what I'm saying? And people will say, well, why the heck would you say 5 games? I just feel like in some parts of the season, like you said, it's like different games where you think your team should beat another team and you're the better team, but sometimes you come out flat. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the week before you played and everybody was kind of locked in, and now this week they feel like, okay, we can just get on the field and beat this team, and then they wound up losing. You know what I mean? Or something crazy happened in the last 5 minutes of the game. You lose on a field goal or something like that. Turnover. So
Poor
yeah,
officiated game. Like there's too many
yeah,
moving variables in the NFL game to just automatically assume that any game is a W.
yeah. And this is what I see, Super Random. I'm glad he mentioned that too about the defense. This is what I see. Um, I see a team just like, is that my dog? He got the hiccups. That's my dog got the hiccups, bro. That's crazy. He he brought up the defense. So this is what I'm thinking. Like, if not having Lee McNeil's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt, bro. Okay, you can say, well, we drafted Talik Williams, which I liked it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Could he be the X factor and be like, let's just assert him as Lee McNeil? I know I'm talking crazy right now, but could he be what I may ask you the question, Walt? Could he be a guy that could be a bridge You know what I'm saying? Until we get McNeil back and then reshuffle the deck, and then him, Reader, and Enrique would be a lot better than not having McNeil in there. You know what I'm saying? At the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, I would hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
considering where they took him at 28 in the draft, you look at his skill set.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody his size at 6'3", 330 who can do what he can do. We've been complaining about Josh Pascal being a tweener for the last couple years.
Yeah.
We've complained about Levi and Wuzarike playing out of position and talking about how he should be in a 4-3 defense and him being a tweener and not being good enough. Who else? Like, we've been
Yeah.
looking for a quote unquote dancing bear for a long time.
Yeah.
And we have to give the guy a chance because granted, he may not have had the pass rush numbers that people want to see coming out of college. A lot of that has to do with what your job duties is also within the scheme, your defense in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, this is something people got to pay attention to too, because this was the big debate about Dexter Lawrence when he came out of Clemson. Was he the best player on the defense, or was it Cleveland Farrell, or was it Christian Wilkins? And people lean towards the guys with the pass rush numbers, Cleveland Farrell and Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
I liken that situation similar to what Tyleik Williams went through at Ohio State. Everybody around him ate,
Yeah.
and they ate because he set the table.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if you take the quarterback. Everybody says an elite quarterback makes everyone around him better, right?
Yeah.
Well, historically, that's kind of been what the job for the nose tackle has been. If you think back to like Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour and Tony Saragusa, like those guys didn't get outside of Richard Seymour, those guys
Mhm.
didn't get real high sack numbers or like real high pass rush rates, but they commanded a double team consistently that freed up everybody else, and they turned average pass rushers around them into like pro bowlers. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, is it Tyleik Williams' job to go out there and get 10 and a half sacks, 13 sacks, 78 pressures? If they put him in a situation to get that, sure. But the reason he won't get that more than likely, and most 6'3", 330-pound defensive tackles don't get that, is because they demand double teams.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to get 6.5, or not even 6.5, but 7, or let's say 10, 11, 12 sacks if you're being double teamed 75% of the snaps?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Facts.
work that way. He has
Facts.
to be an impactful player. I
That's what I
want people to
mean.
stop looking at the pass rush numbers. We need him. They drafted him. They said for 3 weeks leading up to the draft. This is why fans have to stop thinking what they want to think and start thinking the way the organization has shown you with their draft habits over the past 5 drafts now. They said repeatedly, yes, we want pass rush, but we want someone else. We want people that are versatile. We want
Mhm.
guys that can help out against the run as well. Why do you think they went after Davenport last year? He was an elite run defender, and he could also give you some power pass rush.
Mhm.
They were never going to draft a one-trick pony. We may have wanted Mike Green, or we may have wanted Josiah Stewart, or we may have wanted whatever else ESPN told us to want, whatever it may be. Me and you sat up here and said this 2 weeks prior to the draft that they was drafting a defensive tackle. And more than likely, they were going to get a defensive tackle that provided them with more run defense value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't see how people didn't see that this team down the stretch, once you started losing that defensive line, then Mekhi Wingo, as much as we like Mekhi Wingo, he's another tweener.
Yeah. And that's gonna be, yeah. And just what Ralphie said, Ralphie made a good question, said a good question too. You know what I mean? Thanks for y'all responses today too. Yeah, my dog. Yeah, he
Not
over.
me.
Yo, no, he talking about my dog, bro. He was sitting there hiccuping. I never did
Man, your
that.
dog over there been eating too many erasers and plastic bottles, man.
And
That's what the deal is.
pencils. But
Tissue rolls.
yeah, yeah. Nah, man, but you know, this is the thing, man. Is it hard? Is it good? What do you think the transition is like? Because I think that's the biggest question. Because okay, I'm looking at how we can get pressure, right? Why
Hmm.
just manufacture it? New defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard. Calvin Shepard. We don't know what his philosophy will be. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a mystery right now. It's going to be interesting to see, the alignment and how we gonna use these guys. But what I'm saying is, do you think that that Talik Williams could make an impact as a rookie? Have you seen it? Is it far fetched to think that? I mean, while you way more versed than me, on evaluating players, you've been doing it longer. So is it easier for a defensive line? Like, is it hard for a defensive lineman, interior lineman, to catch on quick? Do you put your helmet on week one and just play
I
like
think
you've been
it's
playing, or you know what I'm saying, or
not to discredit, because people, offensive tackles talk shit about interior offensive linemen, and edge rushers on defense talk shit about the defensive tackles on the inside. But it's easier to play guard in the NFL than it is to play tackle, and I think it's easier to play defensive tackle in the
Mhm.
NFL than it is to play edge rusher. You know,
Okay,
it's
okay,
I will say this for him: if he's got DJ Reader next to him
yeah,
consistently, he should be
yeah.
fine.
That's good.
Now, if
Yeah,
he's
I
out
like
there
that.
by himself and we suffer, hopefully not. God forbid, Reader suffers an injury in week 2 and he's gone for 5, 6, 7 weeks, whatever.
No,
Now we
no,
in trouble.
no, don't
Now
no, man.
that's what
No,
I'm saying. But
no.
he still. But if you ever notice though, typically when it comes to the NFL draft, the defensive tackles who are rated as the best typically don't bust out. The guys who are rated as the guys typically turn out to be the guys, whether they're three techniques, they're one techs.
Yeah,
Because typically with a zero tech, a guy like Vita Vea, for example, and the big fella out of Baylor that you and I was talking about the draft before last. It's
uh,
easier. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's easier with those guys because you know exactly what they are. They pretty much construction cones in the middle of the defense. A
yeah,
guy like that that's 340, 350. Even Tampa. We talked about having to play Tampa. They drafted big fella from Florida that's what, 440
but
pounds?
yeah, Cam Jackson. Did they?
Watson. No,
Why?
big, yeah, Watson. They drafted him. And they're gonna play him next to Veda.
Yeah,
So it's easier to take a guy who's 340, put him at zero tech over the center and say, look,
mm,
take on these double teams all day. They can't move you.
yeah,
Because you it's very few centers in the league that take on nose tackles one on one. And as a nose tackle, as a zero,
yeah,
if my center can handle you one on one, you're gonna be out on the street without a job. That's the whole
yeah,
thing. A nose tackle can't be blocked by one guy. You can't be. So I think Tyleek Williams' impact on the defense overall, it can be shown with everybody else's, I believe, production around him because he is a disruption. And for him to play that many snaps at three tech for his size at Ohio State, that says a lot. Says a lot.
yeah. Right, because you're not gonna play right. And I said that too, man. You're not gonna play at a high profile college, like Ohio State, Bama, Texas. You're not playing and starting for those teams. You just not, man. You know what I mean? You if you a scrub, so to speak. I mean, I'm trying to say it in layman terms. If you're not playing for those teams, man, if you can't play. So yeah, I'm excited about that part of it because it is a bit of an unknown. And just wrap it, I was just gonna mention that too. My level of concern with the coordinators, I mean,
I got high concern because I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
That's you
I
talking
don't
about
know
a
what to
first time
expect.
defensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
yep. And it shows you for the first time. Well, I think that's what I said at the beginning of the show when I was talking about Dan Campbell. I think this gonna be his most important coaching job since he's had been on this team, man. You know what I'm saying? And then what I do like about it is this. Remember when Anthony Lynn, I think you mentioned this too a while back. Anthony Lynn was offensive coordinator, right? When Campbell first took over, and it just didn't work, for whatever reason, didn't work. He immediately took that away, you know what I'm saying, and then brought Ben Johnson around, you know what I'm saying, to kind of, um, you know, get us out of this. We were stuck in the mud on offense, and was the right call. So he's shown that Campbell could maybe assert himself even more and get involved in it if it's not going right. And I think Campbell is an offensive guy. He used to be a tight end, so I think he knows how important the offense got to be. Man, it's got to still be a well-oiled machine for us because we can win all these games. We can win the first 6 or 7 games just basically if our offense is humming, man. You know what I'm saying? We could, you know what I mean? But it's just gonna come a point in time where we're gonna have to stop somebody, man. And that's where the problem is for me because I know regardless of who the coordinators are, I mean, that was a problem last year. Aaron Glenn was just working magic all over the field, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just getting people that just who Miles
Well,
Adams, okay, Jamal Adams, okay, just go out there and play. You know what I'm saying? It was just like guys that just, Jamal Adams hadn't played football in weeks. He been sitting on the couch, bro. It was like it was crazy. Aaron
what
Glenn was just
quick
so
question though.
impressive, man. So impressive to me, you know.
What do you make of because everybody who hasn't listened to it, go back and check out the coordinators because the coordinators had their day with the media yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think Hank Fraley has some interesting things to say. He turned down the Seattle job. They were
Mm-hmm.
going to make him the offensive coordinator there to come back here. They gave him a raise to come back here. He's still in control of his offensive line, but they also made him he's the overseer of the run game coordination now.
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody who Dan Campbell obviously trusts a lot. And while you were just talking about the offensive coordinator situation, had got me thinking. Because a lot of times those backdoor under the table deals get made. Listen, you come back here,
Yeah.
we ain't make you the coordinator now. This guy don't work out. It's all you. Because at the end of the day, if the offensive coordinator, I forgot his last name, was it Moton?
Yeah.
Mouton? How do you
John
pronounce it?
John Morton.
Morton. If he
Moot.
doesn't work out,
Yeah.
if he doesn't work out, you really don't have a choice but to hand it over to Hank Fraley
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
at all. So, and then defensively, yeah, Kelvin Shepard, we don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes all of this so much fun though. Because
Yeah.
all we can do right now is speculate heading
Yeah.
into training camp what we think the defense is gonna look like, what we think the offense is gonna look like. But Morton made one damn thing sure yesterday. We gonna get Jameson Williams the football.
Mm-hmm. That's what
He
I like.
made that clear, perfectly clear yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's the right, the right game plan, to start the season to, get the player, get them guys involved, man. Like you said, last show, Jameson Williams and Jameer Gibbs is like the two weapons on our team, man. So I think that, yeah, you feature those guys and then everything else will come into place. Everybody will get their split, everybody will get, their pot of their spot on the pie, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, every team is trying to chase you now. You know what I'm saying? We the hunted, and I think that being the underdog, I think may serve us well in some of these games. I really do, because I think we don't really handle being like in front. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like it's better when we not being chased after. You know what I'm saying? And we doing the chasing. You know what I'm saying? Because it just seemed like, we play more play more loose, play more free. And it's just very interesting to see, which direction this team is going to go to start, um, start the season, man. You know what I mean? But I always say this, regardless of how the season has gone, just be playing good in December, man. Just have your playoff mode in December, and I think that's what, and that's going to be my motto all through the summer, all through preseason, training camp, preseason. Just be playing good football at the end of like Washington. Remember they beat Philly before the playoffs, and Washington was just on a roll a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They went beat Tampa, on the road in the playoffs. So then they came and beat us. So it's just be playing good best football at the end of the season, and they kind of set up for it because think about the injuries. I think even Aiden Hutchinson's on schedule to come back. From all reports I've heard, maybe he's back November. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say he starts really turning it up in November. You know what I'm saying? You have McNeil coming back and sometime late October, right? What if he starts turning it
Hopefully.
up in December? You know what I'm saying? A healthy Marcus Davenport. Oh man, Walt, if we can get 13 games out of Marcus Davenport this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what
That
has to happen?
yeah.
We got to weather the storm the first 2 quarters of the season.
Yeah, man.
Like
Marcus
that's
Davenport.
the thing because it don't matter if by the time week 9 roll around and we sitting at 2-6 or something like
Oh
that.
man, don't come on, man.
It don't matter. But no, I think like I said, as long as they can weather the storm, and that kind of goes into what Ralph question was right here. So question to y'all, are we not ready to start the season personnel wise? I think I don't want people to think that, at least for my opinion, I don't want people to think that I'm down in the team. I'm just not high on the team. I think that they have glaring needs. They still have some glaring holes on the team. Uh, One thing we haven't even talked about is Jake Bates and the kicker situation. Kickers are kind of like closers in baseball. Like they'll have a real good season and then they'll have a real bad season following it. Hopefully that's not Jake Bates. Historically, when you look at the kicker position in the NFL, the really, 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 really great ones, they're few and far between. We had one here in Jason Hanson. You know, the rest of these guys typically are good for 3 or 4 years. They got their stretch and then they typically fall off a cliff. But that's something we got to worry about too because Jake Bates came from out of nowhere. So we got to hope Jake Bates is consistent. Also, and he doesn't have a situation where he's out there shanking extra points and missing 50 yards. It's always stuff that you really got to consider. But personnel wise, listen, man,
Yeah.
the guys we got last year in the 2024 draft must take a step forward. And that's something that we still don't talk too much about.
Yeah.
We hope that the 2024 class, as underwhelmed as you and I were with them last year, we need to be just as impressed with them this
That's
year.
right.
If the 2024 class take a step forward or a few steps forward, oh, we good. We
Yeah,
dynamite then.
we good. Yep, that's
We
right.
good.
And it's funny you said that because when you look at our depth chart, I mean, man, this team is like we don't have we it's almost like we got one glaring weakness on our team. Like if you had to position it, obviously edge rusher, and then I seem to think just me myself personally. I think linebacker core, could maybe use an upgrade a little bit, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit more help, and then corner. I think that the addition of I don't want to get into really talking about the rookie before it's time before we do a show, but Dan Jackson, I was hearing some good things about him from Georgia. Um, didn't know about Dan Jackson. I've seen him play, you know what I'm saying, but I think that it's imperative if we can somehow get some good safety play from another guy. Like remember me, I was big on Melifonwu, and like man, he's a guy that we gotta kind of have him find a place for him, and then Brian Branch can kind of do some more of the Roman and the stuff, be in the slot and just harass people like that, harass offenses. So I do think Enos Rakestraw's interesting guy, man. I can't wait to see. I hope he can just be healthy, man, because I think Enos Rakestraw can bring something, you know what I'm saying, to the table as well. And then we sign, you know what I want to ask you, Avante Maddox. Then we sign him from the Eagles. Yeah, he
Yep.
home. He from here too, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Another guy, with
They also signed Rocky Sin. It's just it's a bunch of
yeah.
it's a bunch of guys, man. It's nobody really stands out. Terrion Arnold was taken in the first round a year ago, was kind of underwhelming as a rookie, real up and down.
Uh-huh.
Like you said, Rake Straw is a guy that didn't give us anything last year. We went out and got DJ Reed from the Jets. He was a number 2 next to Sauce Gardner, so we have no idea how he's going to play because he's going to be expected to be the number 1, number 2 guy for the most part.
Yeah.
You look at what Carlton Davis provided for us last year. If he can't do more than that, then it's going to be kind of a waste. And then you talking about as a cornerback switching schemes, like there's a lot to consider with that, man.
Yeah.
It's
But just with
I would
ZZZ
like to see the cornerback
Lions,
position work out though.
yeah, just with ZZ Lions just said that's a very good question. I was gonna say Terry and Arnold, that was my guy last year, man. And I think Terry and Arnold, I'm just telling you, I'm not saying it as a homer. I expect more out of him, and I think he'll be fine. I don't think he's like gonna be the Achilles heel or sieve that you can't trust him. I don't think so. I think he had to learn, man. The cornerback is hard and we can revisit it now. If we going through half the season this year and it's pass interference and he getting burnt, then we got some problems. Like you said, maybe he's not the fastest guy, but okay, to make up for that lack thereof of speed in some areas, he's got to be smarter. You know what I'm saying? I think you can get angles on guys. You can maybe clutch and grab. You can find an art to it. It's an art to it at corner. You know what I'm saying? He's got to figure out how to fix his craft, man, and it's fixable right now. Now that he in his second season, now, like you said, if maybe this year and now you like, oh man, we don't went through, hell, 20, 25, career games, and we still having the same issues with Terry Arnold. I think, yeah, it's time to maybe think that maybe he's not the guy. But me personally, I think that he'll be fine. I really do. I think that he's got enough. He's got good size, just not the fastest guy. That's all. And a little handsy, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's fixable in the offseason for me. You know what I mean? DJ Reed was a guy I was real high on him. I think I was more than you. I mean, I'm not saying he's Carlton. I think Carlton Davis is a better player than DJ Reed. You know what I'm saying? But I think that getting him, I think we needed another veteran in that spot, man. I think they probably would have rather have Carlton Davis. You know what I'm saying? And he wound up going to New England for more money. But I think that when it comes down to it, I think DJ Reed will be fine. It's just situational football. Yes, right. It's just like we know on third down is coming. When you play the Bears, whatever team it is, and they're looking to make a play, Terran Arnold has to learn to, okay, the ball coming my way, it's third down, I got to make a play, that type of thing. He's got to learn situational football.
You can't be the guy that teams always go after.
Yeah,
we took you in the first round, bro. Like we've seen this.
Yeah,
we've seen Chris Houston. Like we've seen corners be out there that were supposed to be guys that get targeted.
Yeah.
Like first round picks don't get targeted. It's 3rd and 6. We're tearing on that.
That's right.
Where the matchup at?
Like, he gonna get tested. Who's the guy that's gonna test them? Got people in our division. You think Ben
Joe
Johnson
Burrow?
ain't? You right, Joe Burrow.
Jamar Chase?
Right. You think Ben Johnson ain't gonna telling Caleb Williams like they got Terry Arnold out there? You know what I'm saying? We gonna try, and I think that's when he's got to get a pick. He got to, you know what I'm saying? When the first time they come his way bring the smoke, I expect TA to get an interception. He didn't get one last year. I expect him to get one, man. If he doesn't
they're not gonna respect you until you start taking the ball away.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed. Well, I'm gonna just tell you right now, if he don't give me a pick this year or two, I'll be disappointed, man. You know what I mean? Because now he should be ready to play ball, in my opinion. So, okay, let me ask you a question. What about the linebacker core? I mean, I think we good. I really do. I think I'll let you answer it first. Then I'll tell you what I think. But I know it's kind of not that show for that, but I'm just saying, since we going down the roster.
Because Ralph did ask us about, the roster as a whole. How do we feel? Are they ready as a whole, as a roster to really go into the season?
Yeah.
I can imagine, outside of what we already have on the roster, by the time we kick off against Green Bay, there's going to be at least 6 new players on this team.
Yep.
At least 6. Cause you talking
Yep.
about roster cuts, you talking about June 1st cuts. There's always the week before the season starts, guys get traded out of nowhere. Um, there's other big name roster cuts. We keep hearing about DJ Reader being a cap casualty.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if they would necessarily do that considering the current state of the room, the defensive tackle room, because that you cut him, that pretty much makes Tyleik Williams your best player as an
Yeah.
interior defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I don't think they would cut down like that. And if they did cut down like that, you got to be bringing somebody in to offset that, whether it's an edge rusher or it's another corner or it is a linebacker. Now, you brought up Nick Martin the last show.
Yeah. Oklahoma State. Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded a linebacker in the draft. Only thing is, I actually do feel like our linebacking core is fine.
Yeah.
Derek Barnes. Now he's when guys are coming off injury, there's always that question mark. I know everybody has high hopes for Aiden, high hopes for Maleem McNeil, not so much high hopes for Davenport because everybody knows Davenport's history, health wise. But you just never know when guys come off injuries. Now it sucks for Derek Barnes because Derek Barnes was starting to play football at a high level before that injury, but I'm
Yeah.
willing to take Derek Barnes. I'm willing to take Alexander Zaloni, and I'm willing to take a more seasoned Jack Campbell right
Jack
now
Campbell. Yeah.
with Malcolm Rodriguez.
Hmm.
You
The
know,
boy, the boy's balling. I'm looking at it was one guy. We did take Grant Stroud for Colts, but he more of a special team. He gonna make you feel like that Jalen Reeves-Maben role.
yeah.
So I mean, he's like a utility knife guy. You still got Anthony Pittman on the roster right now. Alcy Malcolm Rodriguez. They did bring in Keith Cooper. He's
Yeah.
defensive end, 6'5" from Houston, the University of Houston. They really signed this kid, so they really liked him right off the bat from training camp. Rookie mini camp. I'm sorry. So it's just interesting. That's all I wanted to kick it around with you. I'm cool with it too because I think that I think Jack gonna take the next step. And I think those guys will only get better, man, with a better pass with Tyleik Williams in front of them. Hell,
Yeah.
DJ Reader, and you would think that they would be better. Aiden Hutchinson coming back on the side. Like you just mentioned, I like our team, man. I really do. If you look at just position by position, it seemed like they have guys at every position that they could interchange. We even talk about Makai Wingo so far, and Makai Wingo should come back. You know what I mean on that defensive line. So yeah, it's always fun, Walt, to talk about the schedule. You know what I'm saying? We talking football in May. Like I said, I had us right now. I think 10-7 was my record for tonight, but it damn sure probably gonna change by the time we get to August. You know what I'm saying? I just having some fun with it right now because, like you say, you have no idea what's gonna happen with these teams, man. You still got Von Miller out there to be signed. I'm sure he's going to play somewhere. Matthew Judon is another guy. Man, I wish the Lions would take him. That's another guy. If you don't get
Not to mention
Zadarius
the
Smith
rookie
back,
cuts.
yeah, rookie
There's going to
cuts
be
too.
5th round, 6th round, 7th round picks for other teams that's going to get cut too.
That's right. That's right. And so like you said, and then every year, Brad Holmes adds to it, like you said, six. You said six, but that's accurate. Remember, every year he's been here, he's always added somebody before training camp. That's been on this roster. So, um, yeah, I think as a whole, we just look at the schedule. Everybody kind of like us, like, man, that's tough. It's gonna be tough sledding, but if anybody's equipped to do it, it's the Lions, man. You know what I mean? I think before this regime came, we would look at this schedule and say, "Oh hell, it chalked this so we're gonna be looking, top 5 pick in the draft, that type of thing." But
we
you know what I mean?
we already looking. Man,
Yeah,
it ain't even week 1 yet,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
already
Remember
scouting.
that was our first year at Lions Avenue when we did Lions Avenue, man. I
Oh
think
yeah,
we was talking draft before the calendar
three
year even
thirteen and one.
started. Yeah, so I don't think it's that situation, but the Lions are a playoff team. You know what I'm saying? I do think that, yeah, good call by ZZ Lions. I do think that the coordinators does matter to me, but I think that's why I think later on in the season, I think that everybody's going to know their assignment. I think it may be a rough start to start it, you know what I'm saying? Because I think Jared Goff is just predicated on, he's gotta be like, you pass the ball here, you pass the ball here, you pass the ball here. You know what I mean? You have to tell. It almost seems like he needs to be like that robotic machine type, assignment sheet for him. You know what I'm saying? Where he's got to be able to be computerized in his mind. Like, I got to throw the ball at this spot. You know what I mean? And I
We
don't
need
know
more
if
than
it's,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know this, bro. I'm just
This
trying
type,
to,
listen, man. This type of schedule, we need
yeah,
Jared Goff to be the best player on this team.
yeah,
Considering the
absolutely,
situation with defense, Aiden Hutchinson not being there, Lee McNeil not being there.
yeah,
Offensively, they giving you every damn thing you possibly could need.
yeah,
Let's be honest about it. You got two of the best tackles in the league. One of them is a generational tackle.
mm-hmm,
You got an all-pro safety, but you got an all-pro center. They went out, got you two young athletic guards. They went out, got you a prototypical X wide receiver, a tall, big guy with a large catch radius that can run and make plays downfield. You got Jameson Williams, you got St. Brown, you got Laporta. You got two running backs in the backfield.
yeah,
One of them led the league in touchdowns from scrimmage. There's no rational excuse that you can feed me if Jared Goff doesn't succeed with this offense,
yeah,
unless they just lose a bunch of people on offense.
yeah. Like we did last year, and they flipped a coin and have a bunch of injuries on offense. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the defensive side of the ball. I agree. I mean, I just look at it like this, man. The games. If we play the way we know that they're capable of playing, they could beat anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's an issue anymore. As far as like I think somebody even said it, like, we're not the underdog. We are the favorites because we, favored in most of these games, most of the games, especially last year, because we're expected to win, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not, the Lions didn't go 15-2. I think I heard people on the radio today saying it was fake or whatever, but I don't know how fake you could say how fake it was, because I think that maybe the one, I think they got away with two wins off top of my head last year. Remember Thanksgiving when the game that pretty much got Matt Eberflus fired? Remember that? I don't know what he was doing with the timeout situation. The Bears should have won that game, and they hand gift wrapped it to the Lions. And then the Houston game. Those are two games that you can say, well, the Lions, they really got lucky. The rest of the game, I think that they went out there and won. They just,
I don't even believe in luck no more in football games. Like,
yeah,
people have this idea that if you win 14 games, you got to win all 14 games by 4 touchdowns or more. Like, in case people don't pay attention, man,
no,
this ain't college football where you at Alabama and you got all 5-star players and you beat everybody by 60. Like,
yeah,
it don't happen that way. There's going to be games where you thought it was going to be a 35-28 game, and it turned out to be a 9-6 game.
mm-hmm,
And it turns out that your defense stood up and your offense struggled. You just
yeah,
need to be able to win games in the NFL. And looking at this schedule right here, they just better win games, bro.
yeah,
They
yeah.
just better win games.
Yeah, before we get out of here now, what wins would you can you pull the schedule back up again just real
Yeah,
quick?
I got you.
I was gonna say, what wins would you be impressed by? Obviously, you'd be impressed by, just winning the division. I think that's the goal. But let's just say, um, if we could just handle the business and beat Baltimore, you know what I'm saying? Would that give you an
I'll be
early
very
season?
impressed.
Yeah, would that give? That's what I'm getting at. Would that give you a good taste in your mouth the first part of the season? Like, okay, we here, and damn it, we ain't giving it up. You know what I'm saying? We ain't giving the division up like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that, people think that, some skeptics out there saying, you know what, they've won the division the last 2 years, and I think now it's getting ready to be like a changing of the guard again. Because, like I said, again, for the talking heads, I like Louis Riddick. I like Dan Orlovsky. I think they're really good at what they do. They didn't pick the Lions right now. You know what I'm saying? But it is May. But Vegas has got the Lions plus 135, I think it is. So we can get I can't wait to do our segments with betting again this year. I think Baltimore go down Wall. I think Baltimore would be impressive win.
No, that would be a very impressive win. National TV Monday
And
night at
Monday Night
Baltimore.
Football, that's the game right there. Circle that one on your calendar. Green Bay and Chicago wouldn't impress me. Let's see. Bengals, I got them losing that game. I would say, Walter, this is why. Because I think if you beat the Bengals in that spot real quick, then you outplay Joe. Then me, Golf outplayed Burrow. I'm telling you, that's what's gonna happen in that game. So if they win that game October 5th, I'll be impressed by that because that's showing me them boys went and they smashed, they went toe to toe with Joe Burrow. That's what that would show me there. Kansas City again. I don't want to disrespect Mahomes like that. I don't want to disrespect Andy Reid like that. But I'm not impressed. If we go and beat Kansas City, we've done it before. So I'm not like, because we could lose the
Yeah,
game
but
and we could lose,
didn't
and
they
I would.
win? Didn't they lose what, 2 games last year or one?
They love Kansas City.
They lost to Kansas. They lost to Buffalo, and they
Yeah.
lost to who else beat them? Denver beat them.
So it was the
Yeah,
Broncos. Yeah. Yep. It
yeah.
was the Broncos. Yep.
I don't know. It's like when you look, even though Kansas City never really looks impressive, they haven't looked impressive since Tyreek Hill left. They still, find ways to win games. So I would be impressed that we went to Kansas City and beat them because nobody else does it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Let's see. Keep going down. Walt Tampa Monday night. That wouldn't. We should beat them. Vikings at Washington or
Christmas.
at Philly. Oh boy, we could circle both. I think them the last two games of the season. That's what I was trying to play and try to make. Because those are the two games on my calendar, man. I got the Baltimore game, Cincinnati, Philly, and Washington. All those games on the road. I think that would show me something if they could somehow win those games. These other games, like the Rams, the Rams are up and coming. I mean, it would be impressive to maybe go cross country, go to LA and beat the Rams. You know what I'm saying at this point. Um, and then the Chicago, isn't it the last game of the season? That's weird because
To
they don't have a
to be
time.
determined.
Yep, to
Yep.
be determined. That could be for the division. You know what I mean? And obviously, that's a cold weather game right there. Against the Bears. So yeah, mile marker's right. I mean, I expect to be impressed. I do. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that we're undermanned like that. I just think that in key spots where we gotta have and get off the field, I think that's where this team's gonna have pressure, just like last year, man. I mean, unless something different happens or a different style of philosophy or a different mindset with these guys on defense, because I really do believe that the coaching staff, the ownership, they're preaching. We got what we have in this locker room in this organization is good enough. You know what I'm saying? To beat. That's why they haven't went out and made any trades. They haven't. I mean, it's still guys you can add, and they will add somebody else. I think they will be. Now to an extent we don't know, but I do think, like you said, the roster's not even near about being done right now. You know what I'm saying? As far as like what we're gonna start on September 7th. So
I agree honestly with mile marker. I think sweeping the Bears, man,
mm,
because that Bears game is both of them. Those Bears games are going to be
lit.
complete chess matches,
Mm-hmm.
chess matches between Dan Campbell, not so much the coordinators, but between Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson for damn sure. Being able to keep the emotions in check for both of those guys. Um, there's so much I think going into this season, especially for Dan Campbell too. Like, does he manage the games the same now that Ben Johnson's gone? Does he gamble less? Does he stop gambling altogether?
Yeah.
Does he feel like he can trust golf to do this and do that? There's a lot that really goes into whether or not this team is going to be good. To me, it's so interesting, like I said, because typically one of two things happens with teams when they lose both coordinators. Either
Hmm.
they catch everybody off guard the very next year because there's two brand new coordinators with brand new philosophies, brand new schemes, brand new takes on everything, or those two new coordinators just flat out don't work. That's why you ever notice a lot of times when head coaches lose the OC or they lose their DC, the first thing they do is go hire one with experience. That's why they did bring in David Shaw. And I agree, David Shaw could be next up, but David Shaw never ever went into it.
Yeah.
And he was kind of vague yesterday. He was kind of all over the place with when they was asking him questions about, okay, you keep saying that you wanted to get back to the NFL, you wanted to get back to the NFL, but you said every year that you spent at Stanford, at least three different teams contacted you about head coaching positions, but you never took one of them. You
Hmm.
know, it just seemed kind of odd to me, but they made sure that they surrounded Morton with the right people, you know. And considering that they lost AG, they lost Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell for damn sure had to keep at least one person around he trusted, and that's Hank Fraley. I think the
Yeah.
relationship between Dan Campbell and Hank Fraley is a relationship we need to keep an eye on this season too. That's
Yeah.
going to be what really holds that offense together. That and the fact that we do have some continuity.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we don't have a young ass offense dealing with a brand new offense coordinator.
Yeah. Facts. That's right.
So those Bears games, yep, ZZ Lions, you're right. Those Bears games, the Bears games been tight the last what 3 years.
Yeah. Couple years, man. Yep. Yep.
Here, Ralph, go give it his opinion.
Yeah. Coach that.
Next
Yeah.
episode should be about the man. I said that already. I was talking about that earlier. Me and you talked about that too a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Go ahead
Because
and
I think
introduce everybody to the coaching staff.
it's important. Yeah, that's important. I think that we still got to go through these draft picks too. We
Yeah,
want to people see who Miles Frazier is. We're gonna go through Ahmad Husanian, Dan Jackson. Dominic Lovett is another guy I really like that they took him. Because I know Lovett can play. Lovett didn't he transfer from Missouri if I'm not mistaken?
yep.
I think he was a damn good receiver. I think he's a guy that could stick to the roster big time this year. It just the offense just looks incredible right now. And then it's another guy. I know we're not getting into it yet, but Kai Robichaud, man, from BC. I think that
Yeah,
him getting signed at a undrafted running back from Boston College. If you don't know who he is, check him out, man. You know what I'm saying? The Keith Cooper kid is from Houston. That's another guy. I'm latching on to him right now. He's gonna be my new favorite guy. I want him to make the roster. You know what I'm saying? Defensive end, big strong
he gonna
kid.
be your Isaiah Williams of this year.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, I was with Isaiah Williams last year, man. They cut him.
Sterling Thomas,
Sterling. Yep, yep.
Chase Lucas.
Yeah, Chase Lucas. Yep, yep. So yeah, Walt. So when we gonna come back a couple days here, if we could do a Saturday morning show, whatever
Miles.
you the engineer, you tell me what's
Man, we
up,
can go
and
ahead and jump
then
into Miles Frazier. We got a lot to talk about with Miles Frazier. Probably do. Yeah, ain't no probably. Go ahead and do a film study on Miles Frazier. I'll
yeah,
go through the library, find a game on him. Make sure y'all let us know exactly how you like those film studies as well.
yeah,
I find it very fun actually doing the live film studies with y'all because we get an opportunity to actually watch the game together with y'all. So y'all get to in live action get to see the same things that we seeing, and y'all got any questions, we can go ahead and explain those things.
yeah.
Yeah, Ralph. I mean, no, Ralph, cut it out. Well, excuse me. No, he right though. He right
Yeah,
though. But we've done that. I think we've done that. I think we've done that. What every season so far.
yeah,
We've introduced everybody to the new coaching staff. So yeah,
yeah,
that's no problem at all. No problem at all. So all right, man. Want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I know it's getting kind of late. It's 11:14 over here in Michigan. Now, who else got something to say before we get out of here,
he
man?
said, "Let me call Will Levis." uh,
Good old Will Levis, man. Long as we don't hear about them kicking the tires on Will Levis.
we got Jake Fromm. Don't we got Jake Fromm on the roster?
No, they released Jake
They
from.
released Jake.
Yeah, they
Okay.
released Jake. They went on and got Jake up out there. Hendon Hooker too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see how much they don't have a choice but to play Hendon Hooker this preseason. Y'all can't rob Hendon this mess around and let Jared Goff play all 4 quarters of every preseason game.
uh,
Oh man, Mile Marker says 301 says thank you guys.
Yep.
One
Peace,
pride.
Miles. Yep.
That's what's
Appreciate
up.
everybody tonight. Yep. Oh man.
So, all right, man. Want to thank everybody for joining us. Like I said tonight, as my dog comes down here and starts wagging his tail because he want to go outside. We will be back Saturday morning to take a look at Miles Frazier, all-world guard from the University of LSU. Right guard, left guard, right tackle, left tackle, being cross-trained at center. Think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised at the impact Miles Frazier has for us. So until next time, one pride.